We're back in our VLOOKUP index match demo file, and now we are on tab combination. Now, you may have looked at the previous example using index match. You thought, hey, that's an interesting way to get the job done. Let's take a look at it again. Now, if I look at what's going on here within this index formula, it's not very clear what's going on. This is one of the downsides of index. On the other hand, a VLOOKUP we understand intuitively. We understand that there's a lookup value going on, and then we also understand there's a column that needs to be returned. So let's try to do a combination where we can use VLOOKUP and match. And in fact, you'll see that this dynamic really works out. So in this case, I'm going to use VLOOKUP, and I'm going to select the value I'm interested in. And I'm going to select the table array. And now, VLOOKUP is looking for an index number. So how do I solve this problem? How do I return the medium value for a latte? Well, in this case, I can use match. So I'll use match right here. And remember, match is sort of like VLOOKUP because the first thing it asks for is that lookup value. So I'll select cell K5, and I'll hit comma. And then I'm going to select that table array to look in. So that's going to be B3 through E3. And I like to lock it in. I'll hit F4. And the match type, we're going to say 0 because it's always going to be an exact match for us. And then I'll hit comma again to go back to the VLOOKUP function. And in this case, I also want to do an exact match, and I'll use a false here. And then I'll close that parenthesis, and I'll hit enter. And you can see this works how we want it to work before. Now, I can say I want a cappuccino instead, and maybe I want a large one. And you can see that the value here updates accordingly. So this dynamic we've created, by the way, is one that we're going to be using as we create dashboards. Because the neat thing about this is that if I go over here and let's say I got to raise my prices because the manager says we need to raise prices. So let's say we're going to make this $5 here, $6 here, $7 here. If I now select a latte, you can see that the data updates automatically. And this is what we really like, because when we create dashboards, we're going to have data sets over here. And by over here, I mean, let's say raw data, backend, something like that, where the data is going to be living and it's going to be constantly updating. And then formulas work on top of that data that finally present a result. And what's so great about this is that as changes are made over here, they're automatically ramified up to the presentation. So we're not dealing with VBA or pivot tables where there's some sort of disconnection. And in fact, you can see one last element of this. And this is outside. We'll call this bonus on the video. So I'm going to hit unhide here. Over here, the sentence, how much for a latte or a large latte is created. And you can see here's the formula over here for that. So over here in cell B6, I just linked to this. And I'm just going to hide it because I don't want anyone messing with it. But now that you know where it is, I'm sure you can change it. You can see that it also automatically changes the question. So this is the dynamic that we like in building dashboards. And finally, if I go to this VLOOKUP here, I think I have a better understanding of what's going on. VLOOKUP intuitively tells me that this is a lookup problem, that there's going to be something on the left-hand side of the table that I'm interested in, and there's going to be associated data to the right that I'm also interested in. And we understand that intuitively. So in this way, VLOOKUP is a natural function for this problem.